What if I told you this plain $1 candle could turn into a stunning winter showpiece using just air-dry clay, some rice paper, and a bit of silver foil? Stick with me and I'll show you exactly how to transform the ordinary into something truly magical, one snowflake at a time. Hello my crafty friends, I'm Donna from Mason Creations Etc. and welcome to my channel. If you're ready to get crafty with me, let's make a mess. I got this prayer candle at Dollar Tree. If you don't know this trick for removing tags, you're going to love this. Just heat it up with a heat gun or a blow dryer. Once it's hot, the tag will just pull right off, glue and all. Voila, easy peasy. The first thing I'm doing is wiping this piece with an alcohol wipe. This will remove any dirt, debris, or fingerprints. You want a nice clean surface to start off with. These candles have a black number stamped at the top. I found that a scrubby sponge and some Windex took it right off. Okay, now I'm ready to start working on this Christmas candle. I'm going to brush on Polyvine's multi-surface lacquer in a dead flat finish. I'm using the dead flat finish because I want to remove the shine. It's specially formulated to create a durable bond on slick, non-porous surfaces such as plastic, glass, ceramic, and metal. That bond acts as a gripping layer that allows paints, decoupage papers, or transfers to stick more effectively. Without it, top layers may chip, scratch, or peel. For best results, I'm going to let this dry overnight. Notice that the glass isn't clear any longer. The multi-surface lacquer removed the shine, which gives the glass a frosted appearance. If you plan on having a section that you want to see through, make sure to avoid the lacquer in that area. Removing the shine is what's needed to give your paint good adhesion. I just love this snowflake rice paper. I'm going to cover the candle with this. But you know me, I'm not going to stop there. I have plans for some pretty jazzy embellishments. Make sure you stick around to see what I'll be adding to this candle. I'm removing a couple of the white factory edges to start, using a water brush. A water brush has a cartridge that you fill with water and then brush it on the napkin or rice paper. The water dispenses easily, so this is really convenient. You can find this in my description box below, in my favorite tools section, just in case you want to check it out. Notice that I'm tearing the paper instead of cutting it. You always want to tear your rice paper or napkin instead of cutting it. A torn edge is much easier to blend than a sharp cut edge. Now I'm going to be laying it on the candle to measure the size I need to make the rice paper. This and all the products you're going to see me use today came from decoupagenapkins.com, my wonderful sponsors. My crafty friend Sharon G from Connecticut mentioned that these prayer candles could be decorated for any holiday. Thanks for the idea, Sharon. Let's make a Christmas mess. The less overlap, the better, since rice paper is so translucent. So I'm trying to get this measured out pretty close where the two sides of the paper meet. I'm using Polyvine Decorator's Varnish as my decoupage adhesive today. You can use this product as a varnish and an adhesive, which is true for all the Polyvine formulas. It works so much better than the most popular brand of decoupage glue. It's not a glue, so it doesn't go on thick and lumpy. It's a varnish, so it dries crystal clear and will never yellow. I'm laying the varnish right over top of the paper. The paper is thin, so it seeps through, adhering it to the glass. I'm saturating the paper with a generous coat. I like to decoupage this way because it gives me more control over the placement of the paper. When you put the adhesive down first, sometimes you have trouble adjusting the paper without tearing it. I let the candle dry for a couple of hours, and now I'm giving it a coat of Polyvine Heavy Duty Wood Varnish in a satin finish as my sealer. 2 or 3 coats of this gives you a beautiful shine that's moisture and high heat resistant, as well as high chemical resistant, high stain resistant, high abrasion resistant, and food safe. This works wonderful on any painted or decoupage surface or shiny surface that has been coated with polyvinyl multi-surface lacquer. I let that dry for an hour between each coat and an hour after the final coat. I've had a few people ask me if this varnish has a strong smell. No, it does not. It's water-based, so there are no harmful fumes at all. I'm using my favorite, DOS clay, to make some embellishments for this project. DOS clay is so easy to work with, dries quickly, and has very little shrinkage or cracking when dry. It's perfect for making molded pieces. I'm using a beautiful redesigned mold that has gorgeous snowflakes with amazing detail, and we're going to make sure that detail really stands out. Wait until you see what I'm going to do. After pressing the clay into the molds, I'm scraping off the excess with my palette knife and then smoothing the clay out with some water. Then I'll put them in the freezer for 20 minutes. Freezing the clay makes it rigid so they just pop out of the mold easily. No tiny little limbs will break off. Where are you all watching from, my crafty friends? Let me know in the comments. I just love to see what cities and countries all my friends are watching from. I'm filming from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. Fresh out of the freezer, watch how easily these just pop out of the molds. No delicate little pieces will break off. They are frozen solids, so I'll need to let them thaw for a few minutes, but not in the mold. Make sure you remove them from the mold right away as soon as you take them out of the freezer. While they're thawing, I take that time to smooth out the edges and remove any little pieces of clay that shouldn't be there. While they're still somewhat frozen is a great time to do this. They're still hard, so touching them won't destroy all that beautiful detail. They do thaw quickly and will be ready to glue to your project within a few minutes. I'm going to use Aleene's tacky glue to add my molded clay to my piece. I need to add this while the clay is still wet so it'll conform to the piece as it dries. This is the best glue I've found for attaching wet clay. If any glue seeps out from under the clay, I'm removing it right away with a clean damp brush. I'm also pressing down all the edges of the clay very delicately to make sure they're all connecting with the piece. Wet clay is heavy and it keeps sliding, so I'm adding a piece of painter's tape to keep it in place until it dries. I'll let my clay dry overnight before moving on. DecoupageNapkins.com has such a great selection of napkins that you can purchase one at a time. They carry many other craft supplies such as rice paper, paint, clay, molds, and a great selection of polyvinyl products. Over 9,000 products and growing. They are wonderful to work with and will send your order out fast. You'll receive free shipping on orders over $75 and special bonus points for orders over $100. Subscribe to their newsletter by entering your email address and you'll receive 10% off your next order. They are truly your one-stop shop for craft supplies. Make sure you check them out. I'll be leaving links for all the products I use in my description box below, as well as more information on the previously mentioned promotions. Please note that any of these promotions are subject to future changes. As you can see, I have tape all over my candle holding these clay pieces in place. I check them every so often for about an hour or so to make sure they weren't slipping. I let the clay dry overnight and now it's time to paint all these snowflakes. I'm using Dixie Belle paint and the color cotton, which is white. I know they're already white, but the paint gives the clay a nicer texture. The clay, even though white, is very porous, and I need a nice painted surface for my next step, which you are going to love. Just wait till you see. Dixie Belle chalk paint is my favorite. It's not like other chalk paints. It goes on so smooth and creamy, it doesn't even feel like chalk paint. If I got any paint on the background, I removed it right away with a Q-tip. I painted all the snowflakes and let them dry for about an hour. The turquoise item that you're seeing me use is called a cup cradle. It's made from silicone and I rely on it a lot. I use this anytime I'm working on something round. It keeps my piece from rolling away from me. I get a lot of people asking me what it is. There'll be a link in my description box below, just in case you want to check it out. After the paint dried, I gave the entire piece, including the snowflakes, another coat of polyvine heavy-duty wood varnish and let it dry for an hour. Okay, here's where it gets fun. I'm using Decofoil transfer gel. It's a glue that I'm adding with a sponge dauber. I want to get the glue on just the high points in the detail of the snowflakes. The sponge is flat, so the glue won't get inside the details. It'll just lay the glue on the tops of the detail. This glue goes on white, dries clear, and very sticky. It only takes about 20 minutes for it to dry. What I'm going to add next will make the snowflakes shine and shimmer. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. And why not share this with a friend? Thanks for doing that. You won't want to miss any of the new projects coming up, so don't forget to subscribe. I have some rub-on foil in silver. This is so beautiful and comes in a lot of different colors, but I wanted some silver highlights today. I'm going to lay it over where I have the sticky adhesive, shiny silver side up, and rub. The rubbing will transfer the foil to the glue. When you pull up the foil sheet, the silver is removed from the foil carrier sheet and is glued to your piece, in this case the top edges of the snowflakes. I just keep rubbing until it's covered everywhere. If you missed a spot, you can add more glue and reapply. This is so easy to do and there is no mess. You may still feel a little bit of stickiness, but I'll show you how to fix that in just a few minutes. I test all the products that I recommend in my videos. I won't recommend anything that I haven't used myself and prefer. If I'm recommending it, you can bet it's a great product. Each product will be listed in my description box below and will have a blue link to make it easy for you to find. Any of the links I provide are safe for you to click on. Well, I don't think that's enough bling. What do you guys think? Do we want more? Of course we do. I'm going to add some clear rhinestones to the centers of all the clay snowflakes, and wow, does that look pretty. The tool I'm using is called a rhinestone picker. It has a wax tip that the stones stick to, but release easily once you put them on top of the glue. It really works well and is much better than using tweezers. I'll leave a link for you in my description box below, in case you want to check it out. Now, do we want some more bling? Of course we do. I'm going to add more of the rhinestones to the center of some of the printed snowflakes on the rice paper. There are so many of them and they are congested in some areas, so I just added some here and there. And I'm almost happy. More bling to come in just a few minutes. I'm using Pentart paint in the color silver to paint the top edge of the candle. Pentart paints are fabulous. They have excellent coverage, even the metallic colors. I'm using a sponge dauber again because of the flat edge. It allows me to lay the paint to a flat edge without getting it in places that I don't want it. I'm going to give the entire candle another coat of polyvine heavy-duty wood varnish over top of everything, including the snowflakes and rhinestones. This will remove any stickiness you felt from the residue glue and help secure all those fabulous rhinestones. I'll let that dry for an hour before moving on to a little more bling. I get a lot of questions about how I clean my brushes after all the products I'm using. Everything you've seen me use today is water-based, so they will all clean up with soap and water. I use Speedball pink soap for brushes. I'll leave you a link in my description box below. It works really well. It seems to remove paint you didn't even know was still in your brush. I think you'll like it. Here goes. I'm adding some glittery silver trim to the top and bottom edges of this candle. This trim is so beautiful. I've had it in my stash for a while, but I believe I got it at Hobby Lobby. I'm using a combination of Aleene's tacky glue and a few drops of hot glue, giving me a quick hold to keep it in place. On the bottom, I kept setting the candle down to make sure I kept the trim level with my work table. Don't forget, all of the wonderful products I'm using today can be found at my favorite place for craft supplies, decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll leave you links in my description box below. I've added a link to a video that I think you may enjoy. Click the picture on the right to be taken directly to that video. I'm so happy you were here with me today, and thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all next week. I'm working on a new project with you in mind. You can subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner.